know, we've got more animation work to do.
Kripp wants to pick.
There we go. A character with that name already exists.
Seriously?
The fuck?
Yeah. Well, it's on the show
character.
floor, right? Like
Oh,
it's on the same servers as the show floor, so you know. Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're going Marauder.
You killed the other ones.
Yeah.
The monster.
Well, he highlighted the Ranger, and in the trailer, the Witch lives. So I have to play for fairness' sake for the audience. Just kidding. I just want to pick Marauder.
Can you hear audio, by the way?
I cannot hear much audio.
Okay, right. Then we can get some fallback on the audio.
Oh, I can hear a little bit now.
Okay, cool.
All right, we're going Marauder. So we got Heavy Strike. Oh man, I'm not used to the normal
Yes, I know.
keybinds.
And so this is the thing, there's so much muscle memory in putting skill gems in your items that, like, around the office, like, every time I, like, always pick up a gem and I move it up to my inventory, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, and then left to the skill screen.
There's no options.
No, we turned it off for the demo.
Okay, well, we'll try to make the best of it here. So we have auto attack and heavy strike, and just I can see the Marauder looks a lot different. He looks more human, I would say.
I mean, the character model is one of the first things that we ever worked on in Path of Exile, like in 2006, right? So, like, you know, really it was a long time coming, giving updates to those character classes.
Yeah, looks as it just came out of the water with jeans.
Optimal efficiency, I should be killing none of these, I believe.
It's like, you know, bodybuilder escape from
Well, I got a wisdom scroll. That's like a third of a ring, right?
from a show.
Also, just out of interest, we saw a lot of new armor. Will that mean that?
So all of the base types all being refreshed from PoE 2. That was it's a mammoth task. That
Like the old greased up bodybuilder there.
Because you know this is a really mammoth task. Re-rigging all the microtransactions to the new character classes is going to take a really long time. So you know we really need to hire some more riggers to get that mammoth task out of the way. Yeah, it's quite a big one.
So Heavy Strike is an AoE now, like a really small AoE?
Yeah, it's actually like that on prod right now, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But I think that that we actually increased it a little bit. So yeah, I should actually say, so actually that is actually important, is that because we're doing new animations for all the character classes now, we were able to really think about, like, you know, like when you're swinging, like what the arc of the swing is, and then make sure that that's big enough. So like Heavy Strike has bigger.
So I think the fusings are gone entirely, right?
The swing arc is like much larger. And so when we were designing the character class, something we really didn't do the first time around is we didn't really think about it in those terms.
Why there are 3 sockets already?
Hit one guy. Whereas when we're thinking about it in terms of, like, you do a swing, you're going to hit every guy along that swing. It really changes what you're doing with animation. Like, we have to do a lot of things, like make sure that all of the different classes have, like, normalized, like, speeds and like timings and like how they hit and all that kind of stuff. It was like quite a thing.
I think you don't fuse anything now.
I think it's made quite a big difference to the feel of Melee. Like I really like a lot more how we're feeling with all the animations and stuff now. It's a serious improvement. How do
the skill gems work themselves? I actually don't even know how to bring up the
press
menu.
S.
S?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
so this club, it has 3 sockets by default, and by default they're all red.
It's not the club. It's the Heavy Strike.
Heavy Strike
has well 2 support sockets in addition to itself, right? So basically, if you take that out, then the support gems come with it, and you can put it in another slot. So that means you can just, like, move stuff around, like, without having to, like, futz around with gems all the time.
What is the second slot? Do you just
so
get this many gem slots?
Your primary slots still come from your items. Okay. So you've got a club there that you're wearing. And every one-hand mace that you find will have exactly 2 red sockets. They can be changed later, like later on the game, but everything that drops will have exactly 2 red. And what that means is that you can always change out for another club, another one-hand mace at any time, and you'll be sure that your sockets will work. So it just removes all the frustration of having to, like, you know, move everything around your sockets. Yeah, we just have the old passive screen there. We're not ready to announce what we're doing.
It's okay. I'm just going for some melee damage.
Yeah, just give him some melee damage. Okay. So here we have the Miller fight.
So I'll just tank everything and potion up, right?
Let's see if that works out for you.
I mean, that's always worked in the past.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I didn't get it about the socket colors, though.
Why is he gaining health?
Yeah, because he did his thing there. Let's see how that. Okay.
I didn't get it about the socket colors.
We're doing the right-click hold right now, and it's holding up, but I only have 1 potion charge left.
Right, with flasking, right? Okay.
Yes.
I can't see anything.
We're good. We're good.
Good.
So how exactly was something like 6 links work with the new system?
So basically, every time you find, well, sorry, I should say, So 6 links effectively are now on the gems, right? So that means that like you're not finding a 6-link armor, you're finding like a 6-link fireball. So you actually have to find 6 links for all of the different primary skills that you get.
So are there non-6-link fireballs?
Absolutely, absolutely, right? So basically, so the actual gems themselves will actually have a value now that they did not before, and you can also re-roll them with, different currency, just like you could before. But it's actually sort of on the skills. And that's like a pretty substantial change, but I actually think it makes a lot more sense overall. Like when you want to get a skill upgrade, you find a skill to do it with. So yeah, that changes things quite significantly.
So is there essentially like a gem cutting that adds sockets or changes those sockets?
Well, so the existing currency that used to work on items works on skill gems now.
So it's still like fusing things
What
up?
the fuck?
Fusing, because everything is implicitly linked.
Yeah.
But jewelers is what you'd use to change the number of sockets. Yeah, and you have to change around.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
What will we do with all our fuses, Jonathan?
That is an interesting question. There's going to be a migration. And in fact, it's going to be pretty hellish, actually, now that I think about it, because consider we have to like migrate everyone's gems away from being inside their armors.
How the fuck
like,
are you
migrate?
Will we migrate this?
Differently, the stuff you can do is like not exactly the same. So that's going to be a bit of an interesting migration, especially because there's 2 billion items in the Path of Exile database.
Oh my god.
And so
2 billion items.
That's my responsibility as a tech director.
Maybe we can help you.
I'm sure we'll be fine.
2 billion items.
We can help you. We can ask everybody, take your gems out of your gear, so they don't have to do it so much.
One thing I noticed is, so when I take out Heavy Strike and put it over Ground Slam, the support gem is stuck with the gem.
Yes, it is. That is actually a thing that is interesting. So when you take it out, the support gem pops out. But the reason for that is because when you get to end game, it's actually much more convenient for it to work that way. Because there was actually some discussion about that particular element. Like at low levels, it's slightly different than what you would expect. But the thing is because different gems are usually going to have different colored sockets, you can't just assume that the sockets will work when you socket them in. But yeah.
All right, I got Ground Slam.
Okay.
Wow. Looks just like a Ground Slam.
Yes.
What's that?
While he works at that, so when it comes to the shape-shifting stuff that we saw, how many forms and stuff do we have to play with?
There is more than that one. There is an Ascendancy class that's related as well to some of this stuff. Yeah, the interesting thing about it is that, so effectively when you shapeshift, what's happening is that it's effectively replacing your weapon with with stats that come directly from the skill. So it's effectively a way to scale attacks like you would scale spells, because it scales with the spell instead of the with the actual level of the spell. And so that actually means the build is quite different. Like your weapon has a different purpose.
So that explains our question about like what happens to your bow or your weapons you have equipped. Exactly. It's effectively being replaced with that.
Exactly.
So I guess like the werewolf would have a weapon type of his hands.
Exactly. So it's claws for the werewolf.
Makes sense.
And then that's
makes sense. There you go, Darky.
Shadow Dream is
coming through. Then basically. Oh, good. Excellent. That's much better.
I like this. Everything is so fucking dark.
Basically, it's claws for the werewolf. That way you can sort of
you
scale
barely
it.
can
It's
see
quite
shit.
Quite a different way to build a character. That ranger, like, I wanted to show off werewolf
look
form,
how
but
dark
it
is.
Kind of not really optimized for
It's
being
insane.
a werewolf.
It's like Diablo 1.
Which is a detail that matters to us, but maybe not so much to the 2 billion units, is that your bow stats are still used for the ranged attack totem that I was using. The shot. Sorry, that's not the official. I call it shotgun totem, but I think it's called. I can't remember the actual proper name. But
it's really very dark.
For that. Like your weapon still matters for some stuff, but the thing is you can't cast spells while you're in werewolf form. So you have to be changing back and forth. So when you be casting curses, then changing back, or totems, or whatever it is that you're casting while you're doing that, and then you change the werewolf form, do some attacks.
Right click, Kripp. Right click, Kripp.
Why we want to make it so that like no matter what you're doing, you can just change straight into werewolf form and back again. Like middle of an attack, whatever, it all just kind of works.
So that'll what we were talking about, promoting shifting back and forth because you might want to cast a spell every so often, and you can do it quite quickly from the looks of it.
Exactly. So you can do it. You can do it nearly instantly. I think there was like I think they actually added a cooldown to the skill in the demo. I think to the transform, just because there was some graphical glitches when you transform to and back at the same time.
Like double pressing.
Yeah, exactly. So it looked a bit funky. So
I really like the graphics.
The demo, but yeah, we'll we'll fix that before it comes out.
Everything is
very
so,
quick, like werewolf form, whatever.
you know, greasy and fucking dark and swampy and wet and shitty.
There's also some concern about,
like you are really crawling through the fucking cave full of shit.
But yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
There's no fun stuff there, you know.
Pretty awesome. Especially because you can't use not regular movement skills while in wheel form, so it's kind of a trade-off. You have to think about.
Cool. So it's like
it's like a travel form in itself. Yeah, but it's more fun.
I'm against the Devourer here. And it's one of these like lengthy multi-phase fights where you encounter the boss again and again throughout different parts of the instance. How do you feel these type of fights have worked out? I mean, I kind of like them, but I also kind of like just the straight up beat the boss type of situation. But I imagine scalability makes those a bit of a problem nowadays.
It can be difficult just because we want to have some sense of epicness in the fight, but at the same time, which the Devourer fight really is, by the way, with all this. But at the same time, like, obviously players are really unhappy about immunity phases and that kind of stuff. It's honestly a real tough balance to sort of get the difference, when we should have one and when the other. But yeah, we try it. At low levels, I think it's a lot more acceptable because you're whoa, there you go. Haha, awesome.
Hey,
we got you. Yeah, so what you want to do is hide behind the segments of the Devourer that are like elsewhere in order to avoid the
elsewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't see any near there.
Oh, you didn't see any there?
No.
Okay.
Oh, these things? No.
So
Oh, these
segments
things.
around. Yeah, exactly. So you want to hide behind those. As he dives around, he sort of creates them.
I see.
Yeah.
So for you personally,
the
Jonathan,
mechanics
what was
is
the bit
really
that you were most
sweet.
excited for from the announcement?
I like how he dives like underground. This is pretty unique.
Like for so long, and honestly, like super stressed for are people going to like this? Are people going to even get the concept?
Look at the fight takes forever.
We're patching a sequel into our game, kind of thing. It's like kind of a slightly unusual thing. Yeah, well, you will get it.
That doesn't look safe. Okay, I'm only safe for a second, I guess.
Right.
I mean, this is a demo and everything, but
Well,
like,
Chris
and
did say he wants to kill Kripp, so he's
takes so much time to kill the boss. It really feels epic, I think.
It seemed like Chris
I feel
was
like
actually...
this will be quite a challenge going through the first time.
So we actually want to try and bring the difficulty back.
Okay.
Yes.
It's been a long time, I feel, since people have been really challenged, especially like in the early game. We want to actually make sure that people are.
Finally.
But we're sort of making a statement here. This is effectively the boss that replaces Hailrake. So, it's a bit of an upgrade in terms of.
Finally, a boss that takes fucking 20 minutes.
So how will this be reflected in the endgame? Like, should we expect this difficulty curve to continue into the maps and the bosses?
So we are actually, in 3.9, we're actually increasing the difficulty of endgame quite significantly as well. There's a few mechanics that Chris is going to talk about during the 3.90 deep dive that I think will be really interesting.
No more health.
Yep.
Do I have a TP? Okay, we're going to town.
Flee.
That was pretty close on that one. I think that AoE would have hit.
There should be little worms walking around. Whoa, shit. Okay, good. Nice.
Oh, no teleports for you, Kripp.
You're kind of done for.
Right.
Got fucked.
Thing that would work out a little bit better. So he does the thing, and then he breathes. But if he breathes near you like he did there,
got
you
fucked.
don't really have much of a chance.
Well, this fight is so intense. It's like fucking Uber Elder already.
Right now.
You lost all potions like 3 times already. He teleported back to town, got back and got fucked right there.
Him to actually breathe.
That big breathe, as you call it, you have to get behind the one of the tail segments, or you're really going to be screwed.
Okay, well we got some loot at least. Maybe I'll make my character amazing now. Here we go. It's a short sword. Oh, there's little worm things.
Yeah. That's your flash charges right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
When this launches, will there be a helpful Jonathan assisting every player through the first boss?
If only I could do that.
The first optional boss.
Yeah. It is optional. It's true.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, if it replaces Hellrake.
Yeah. It does.
How did you go about creating all this, like, this whole new campaign? Was it kind of like looking at what you've done before and trying to like, you know, oh, here's the hail rake fight, so we can make something like that, or is it just completely new chance for you to do something different?
There was an element of that. Like the first area is definitely supposed to be evocative of nostalgia for the original PoE 1 campaign, but we kind of diverged fairly quickly after that. So I'm obviously not going to talk about subsequent acts and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really like actually you saw the trailer, right?
Yeah.
So you know there was some interesting shots in that trailer from subsequent acts that you know hopefully you're excited to see.
It's I've spoken to Chris about this in the past before, but the idea of having the 10-act campaign we have now being like ending in you killing the actual gods.
Yeah, I know.
It's
like we needed to bring it back. We needed to bring things like down a level. You know, it's like so you know like
looks
getting
amazing.
things. You know, just on a human scale again, you know.
So a lot more humble, back to
exactly,
basics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why we.
And you know what I like about this is that kind of the scale of the character models is so good.
It was a very good idea. Very good idea, I may say.
Eric is dark.
Yes, he definitely is. He definitely is. Yeah. So I was like, when I heard this idea, I'm like, yes. This is what we're doing. And the other thing as well is that I think the current character selection screen is actually like I don't actually like it as much as I liked the original ship scene. Like I think the ship scene just had this more sort of evocative feel of like what the game was about, and I think we're trying to bring that back with PoE 2. Like really get that feel like right from the very beginning. You're like, I understand this like a story where it's a dark story with like characters that are exiles, right?
That's really interesting because you effectively make something new. You go really epic and you're like, let's make it epic, but then you realize, oh, it was kind of cool when we were, just.
There's a lot of polygons.
It was.
And the game actually looks very close to Diablo 4, like visually.
I was like, we talked specifically about the screen. And he was like, yeah, we prefer.
But I didn't expect such level of detail.
But that's how these things go. We've learned.
And now the character selection screen is gonna make people cringe every time they select the good type in their name. They're like, enter.
Well, the thing that I really wanted, actually, I remember saying at the time, is like I want like when you click the button to feel like I did this, like I caused this hang. It's like I click, it's like oh,
That's what it looks
really
like.
Get that.
You pick the one that lives.
Right, exactly.
That's brutal.
So let's see how far you can get in this little playthrough here. I guess you don't have any more red sockets on your character?
I guess I have to get different type of items, so I would have to chrome these, I suppose.
Yeah, so the at the start you'll probably want to be wearing some like a strength armor. I don't know if you've got one there. Is that one there?
I have this thing, but I don't know if I want to. Okay, yeah. I guess leather vest is kind of weak.
Cool. All right.
But yeah, if you can kind of tell the differences. I'm really blown away by this.
The fuck?
The grittiness while making it a lot more modern.
Well, a lot of it is down to our new, like, a lot of engine tech that we've been working on for quite a long time. So, I mean, it's interesting actually because we've, like, a lot of the stuff is patched in to the current shipping game, and yet none of it is really being used because we didn't have the assets for it. So for example, like this PBR rendering pipeline, physically based rendering as it's called, is like basically like the standard for modern games, and we kind of had to like find a way to sort of patch it in so it can sort of live with all of our old text for the PoE 1 campaign at the same time as having new stuff as well. And it looks really a lot better. So like 3D scans and stuff like that. So like we hired a company to go around Europe to like medieval churches and like scan statues and stuff like that. These are things that we've done. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff coming along.
You didn't use that as an excuse to get out there yourself?
No, unfortunately,
unfortunately
not.
Church
tours?
Yeah,
exactly.
Research.
Yeah.
Research.
I'd love it. That'd be good company expense there. Yeah. So the next area after this one is actually probably my favorite in the campaign right now. Hopefully you can find it pretty soon.
Well, I think it's the one by the waypoint, but I just went around.
It's funny because the demo is limited. Like you're not limited right now, but the demo for the show floor is limited to 45 minutes.
Oh, I see.
And we had QA saying, what are people going to do for the other 15 minutes? And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, there's no way they can get through an entire act I've never seen before in that amount of time.
I mean, no, I guess I'm mistaken. That's the waypoint's by the dungeon.
The waypoint's by the dungeon, so that's how you come back once you town portal back up and go down the waypoint.
No, so I guess I haven't found the next area yet.
Yeah, you haven't.
While Kripp works that out, so something that you and Chris were stressing on stage is how like the world has this generation now. Like,
oh yes, that's so basically now rather than just generating within an area, the actual world screen, the world panel, is now randomly generated. So all the areas have a different layout on the world screen as well. And the reason we did that is we were actually really being held back by the fact that, like, so you know, if you look at something like the mud flats, your entrance is always on the left, and the exit is always on the right, and the exit to the what do you call it? The dark area.
Fetid pool.
Fetid pool. That's the one. Sorry. The entrance of the fetid pool is always kind of on the top, right? So now we can randomly generate like the whole the layout on the world panel as well, and so that means that we can really have proper randomness. Like all those entrances move to different places.
Oh no.
So yeah,
complete RNG. No more racing, guys.
And that's actually a really interesting feature. It actually made a huge difference. And when
Racers
you start thinking about
are
that way,
fuck,
there's also
guys.
stuff to start thinking about. Like for example, there's like a river that flows through town. So you have to be thinking like, okay, so if you're going
completely
north,
random
the
shit
exit from town,
every time you enter.
If you're going north at the exit, then that means you have to consider that there's a river on the left, like as you come out. But if you go to the right of town to go out that way, then there's no river and that kind of stuff. So we have to start thinking on that level with like a little bit of stuff in our generation. It starts to get a little bit tricky to work all that stuff out.
How lost do you want me to get? Are you going to give me something to work with here?
Well, I mean, you can still look at the world panel, so you can still see, you know, the question marks that appear for the next area.
So
you
the
can kind of see.
panel.
Well, yeah, exactly. So if you look at it, you can see which direction to sort of vaguely go.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the forest area. Especially the other thing as well you can see here is monsters that are actually fast.
Yes, I was about to say that actually.
Yeah,
those are pretty quick for
the werewolves, like the
for white mobs.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that's like a real improvement to what we've been doing.
That's true. We're nearly always going to outrun monsters.
Right, exactly. But you know, once again, it's an element of making it hard again. You know, it's like having fast monsters. You can't outrun it. You have to kill that thing. You know, if it generates as a rare, it's kind of like nasty.
Well, not just that, it kind of slows the game down, even though they're faster, because with slower mobs, you just pull them up. And then just kill them all at once. But if they're like on top of you, you can't really set that up as easily.
Yeah, the instances are still there, but
I guess some people maybe don't consider it a problem. Where it's like
they're completely randomly
generated. You could just kind of always run. Like there was nothing in the game that would ever stop you. That's something that I think like is good to actually try and address, because it actually, like, I think it adds a little bit more skill during the regular playthrough. So very shortly you should be coming to the tree that's behind us here in the venue.
Oh, okay. It felt so familiar. I was somewhat surprised to hear that it's not part of the game yet. It felt like it blends right in.
Right. Well, you know, it's just our art style, I guess.
Would you like to tell us who the fellow with the blue eyes is?
I would not actually. For now, he. I'm trying to think, because I know who he is, and so you know, I'm struggling to think of what do we call him before the reveal.
The map is pretty huge,
too. Oh, I got him. He's the hooded one.
Right. Yes. There we go. The hooded one.
Yes, there's a full life-size statue upstairs.
Yes. That's I was really happy when I saw what they've done there. It's
very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
We can zoom in for a close-up of the hooded one in game here.
It was quite fun.
I got steel skin. All right. Oh, it's dead. Wait a minute. Fucking dead, guys. Rip. Oh, it's
taking his time.
Good. Excellent.
Since we are on limited time, is there anything you would like to stress or bring up?
Honestly, like I hope we address that in the keynote. You know, that was the whole idea after all. Walk around and talk to some of the players who played the demo, see what they think. You know, yeah, I think it's gonna be really fun.
Hey man, Twitch drops.
The speed of the monsters is maybe looking at stun resistance, a way to combat that as well. Because I feel like with scaling damage so high, you just stun everything with every hit.
Right. There is actually a different system for that, I think. I'm not entirely sure, actually. Okay, I'm not sure what's going
Kripp is clearing everything there. He wants to level up.
No, I think
you should tell us.
Right. Sorry. I think I know it's not like 100% like correct yet. So you know, 'cause for example, I don't know if anyone's talked to you guys so far, or if we did it yet, because there's this whole we're changing the way the ailment resistance works to change the way that bosses resist ailments a lot. I'm pretty sure it's in the 3.9. No, wait. No, I don't think it's even in the 3.9 deep dive. So at some point, someone will probably tell the players about the fact that we changed the way ailment resistance works on all the monsters, because there was like a problem with bosses where it was like, we had way too many bosses that were like, you just cannot freeze this, you just can't do this, you can't do that, right? So that was we had to do for design reasons because the numbers we were using just didn't like make it, like we didn't have the control we needed, and that's been something that we addressed quite significantly. I believe 3.9. I think stun might be bundled up in that stuff as well. So yeah.
You are it seems like some of this stuff is going to make the game a bit more accessible for new players joining and checking out the game, but at the same time it looks like it's getting a lot harder.
Well, this is the thing. So we kind of had this goal of like, okay, I want to make the game easier to play, easier to understand, and way more deep. And it's like these design goals seem conflicting somehow, but yet we sort of have to do it somehow. And that was the needle we were trying to thread with the skill system. I sort of talk a lot about this, how we design it and so on in the deep dive, or I will do rather. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing, and I think we've actually achieved it. I'm actually really happy with how the skill system stuff turned out. Like once you get a chance to sort of play around with it a bit more, I hope you guys will agree. Yeah, we're really worried, right? That's a huge iconic thing. What was that, sorry?
I think our segment's about to end here, and I just made it to the red veil. So maybe just a few final thoughts on maybe this zone, perhaps, because we'll probably see a little bit of it on the demo floor.
Yeah, you should definitely click on one of the glowing pillars that's around here, and hopefully survive it. Yes.
You're trying to get
what?
Killed.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, fine.
All right.
I'll try to navigate, but I don't know if we'll find one in time.
I think we've got to hit the whole
probably won't.
I'm not sure.
I think we're getting booted.
Yeah, we're getting booted.
Jonathan, thank you very much for joining us, and amazing keynote. Like,
really cool scenery though. It's so dark and.
Thank you very much for being here, guys.
A lot like Diablo 2 and 1.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think it's like more Diablo than fucking Diablo 4, guys. To be honest. It's more Diablo 4 than Diablo 4. Literally.